The concept of the Waldemath dark moon, often referred to as the second moon or Lilith, not to be confused with the asteroid Lilith or the black moon Lilith, occupies a unique, shadowy niche in the world of astrology. To understand its influence in the 10th house, one must first acknowledge its nature as a ghost moon. Proposed by astronomer George Waldemath in the late 19th century, this hypothetical satellite represents a point of intense psychic gravity. In an astrological chart, it acts as a reservoir of unmanifested energy, primal instincts, and the raw material of the soul that has yet to be refined by social convention. When this potent, obscured energy sits in the 10th house, the highest point of the chart, the results are often profound, public, and paradoxical. The public mask and the hidden self. The 10th house, traditionally governed by Capricorn and Saturn, represents our career, public reputation, authority, and our legacy. It is the most visible part of the natal chart. Placing the Waldemath moon here creates a fascinating tension. The individual feels a deep, almost compulsive need to be seen or respected, yet there is a part of their identity that feels fundamentally other or misunderstood by the collective. Unlike the standard moon, which reflects our emotional needs and comforts, the Waldemath moon represents a more chaotic, unrefined power. In the 10th house, this suggests that the native's professional life is rarely a straight line. There is often a rebel energy at play. You may find yourself attracting public attention not for following the rules, but for breaking them, or for embodying a truth that others find unsettling. Authority and the outsider status. People with this placement often have a complicated relationship with authority figures. Because the Waldemath moon represents a refusal to be tamed, you might feel an inherent distrust of traditional corporate structures or rigid hierarchies. You don't just want a job, you want a platform for your authentic, albeit darker, truths. This can manifest as the whistleblower archetype or the iconoclast. You may rise to a position of power only to realize that the view from the top is isolating. There is a recurring theme of being cast out or choosing to leave a prestigious position because it requires the sacrifice of your inner integrity. The 10th house Waldemath native learns that their true authority comes not from a title, but from their ability to stand alone in their convictions. The weight of reputation. The 10th house also relates to the father figure or the dominant parent. With the dark moon here, there may have been a weight to the parental expectations, perhaps an unspoken pressure to succeed or a feeling that the parent's public image was a shadow that the native had to escape. In adulthood, this translates into a hyper-awareness of how one is perceived. You might experience periods of intense public scrutiny or cancel culture dynamics before they were even a mainstream concept. The lesson of the Waldemath moon in the 10th is to stop managing the mirror of public opinion and instead focus on the source of the light. When you stop trying to curate a perfect reputation, your darker, more authentic qualities become your greatest professional assets, allowing you to lead with a depth that others lack. Professional evolution, from shadow to light. In terms of vocation, this placement often draws individuals toward taboo or hidden industries. This could include psychology, investigative journalism, occult studies, or even high-stakes crisis management. You are naturally equipped to handle the things that make others uncomfortable. Your career path may involve a death and rebirth cycle. You might achieve great success, experience a sudden fall or retreat from the public eye, and then re-emerge in a completely different, more empowered form. This is the Waldemath moon's way of stripping away the ego-driven desires of the 10th house to make room for a legacy that actually matters. Conclusion: mastering the heights. Ultimately, having the Waldemath dark moon in the 10th house is a calling to redefine what success looks like. It demands that you bring your shadow, your unconventional ideas, your intensity, and your rawest instincts into the light of the public square. You are not meant to be a polished, corporate mannequin. You are meant to be a catalyst for change. By embracing the darkness of your own ambition and the unconventional nature of your public persona, you find a level of mastery that is unshakable because it isn't built on the shifting sands of approval, but on the solid ground of self-knowledge. When the Waldemath dark moon makes a tight conjunction with a natal planet or angle in the 10th house, the ghostly nature of this point becomes electrified. In astrology, a conjunction is a union of energies. However, because the Waldemath Moon is essentially a vacuum of primal, unrefined power, it doesn't just blend with the other planet, it often obsesses, amplifies, or obscures it. In the 10th house, these conjunctions determine the specific flavor of your public struggle and eventual mastery. Conjunction with the midheaven, MC. The midheaven is the cusp of the 10th house, representing your highest aspirations and public peak. When the Waldemath Moon sits exactly on the MC, your entire persona is colored by an air of mystery or otherness. The effect, you may be famous or notorious for things you didn't necessarily intend to reveal. There is a magnetic quality to your reputation. People are drawn to you but often project their own shadows onto you. The challenge, learning to navigate the public eye without letting it consume your private identity. You must be the author of your own narrative, or the public will write a dark one for you. Conjunction with personal planets. When the dark moon touches the inner planets in the 10th house, the career becomes deeply personal and emotionally charged. With the sun, the shadow sovereign. A Sun-Waldemath conjunction in the 10th creates a person whose core identity is inextricably linked to their professional crusade. You possess a massive presence, but you may feel like you are burning through your career. Your authority is undeniable, yet it feels subversive. You aren't just a boss, you're a disruptor. The ego must be tempered, or the darkness of the moon will eclipse your achievements. With Mercury, the occult messenger. If Mercury is involved, your professional voice is sharp, investigative, and perhaps provocative. You are the one who says what everyone else is thinking but is too afraid to vocalize in a boardroom or public forum. You excel in communication that uncovers secrets, but you must be careful of reputation-damaging speech or being perceived as someone who uses information as a weapon. With Venus, the dark muse. Venus here suggests a career in the arts, beauty, or diplomacy that explores the underworld. Think of fashion that leans toward the Gothic, or a legal career defending the marginalized. You are attracted to positions of power that have a certain aesthetic or social edge. Your professional relationships are intense, and you may find that your charms are both your greatest asset and your most scrutinized trait. With Mars, the guerrilla leader. Mars conjunct the Waldemath Moon in the 10th is a signature for someone who fights for their status. Your ambition is primal. You don't just want to succeed, you want to conquer. This can lead to significant friction with superiors, as you likely view any attempt to control you as a declaration of war. Channeled correctly, this provides the stamina to overturn corrupt systems. The black hole effect. Regardless of the planet involved, a conjunction with the Waldemath Moon acts like a psychic gravity well. It draws experiences toward the native that force them to deal with the unseen side of that planet's energy. If you have a conjunction in the 10th, you cannot have a normal career. Any attempt to play it safe or follow a traditional path will likely result in a sense of internal rot or a sudden, chaotic collapse of your professional life. The conjunction demands that you integrate the dark or hidden aspects of that planet into your public work. Note, the Waldemath Moon is about the raw material of the soul. In conjunction, it asks, are you brave enough to show the world who you are when the mask is off? Transits of the Waldemath dark moon through the 10th house, or transits from other planets to a natal Waldemath moon in the 10th, signal periods of profound professional stripping and truth-telling. Because the Waldemath Moon represents a primal, unrefined energy that resists societal suppression, its transit periods often feel like a public initiation or a reckoning with one's authentic path. Unlike the standard moon's rapid 28-day cycle, the Waldemath dark moon, sometimes referred to as the second moon or a specific Lilith point, moves through the zodiac over a period of roughly 119 days, spending about 10 days in each sign. This creates short but intense bursts of energy that can dramatically shift your public standing. The transit of Waldemath through the 10th house. When the Waldemath moon transits your 10th house, it acts as a black light shining on your career and reputation. It reveals the cracks in your professional mask. The unmasking, If you have been performing a role that does not align with your soul's raw truth, this transit will make it nearly impossible to continue the charade. You may feel a sudden, inexplicable urge to quit a stable job or speak out against a superior. The outsiders rise. Conversely, for those who have been marginalized or working in the shadows, this transit can bring a sudden rebel fame. It is a period where being different or difficult becomes your most marketable trait. Reputation volatility. During these 10 to 30 days, depending on the house's size, your reputation is highly sensitive. You might face projections from others, being seen as a villain or a hero based on their own biases rather than your actions. The key is to remain unswayed by the public's fluctuating moods. Major planets transiting a natal Waldemath 10th house. When slower-moving outer planets cross your natal Waldemath Moon in the 10th, the effects are long-lasting and often mark turning points in your life's legacy. Saturn crossing Waldemath. This is a heavy, sobering transit. Saturn demands structure, while Waldemath demands raw authenticity. This can manifest as a trial by fire where your professional integrity is tested. You may have to choose between a prestigious title and your personal truth. Uranus crossing Waldemath. Expect the unexpected. This transit can trigger a sudden fall from grace that turns out to be a liberation, or a viral moment that changes your career trajectory overnight. It breaks the static of your public image. Pluto crossing Waldemath. This is the ultimate death and rebirth of the career. It represents a total purge of outdated ambitions. You may lose your public standing entirely, only to rebuild it on a foundation of genuine power rather than superficial status. The dark night of the career. Transits involving the Waldemath Moon in the 10th often coincide with what could be called a dark night of the soul regarding your life's work. There is a sense of liminality, the feeling of being in between versions of yourself. You are no longer the person who followed the traditional rules of success, but you haven't yet fully emerged as the sovereign of your own path. During these transits, the usual metrics of success, money, titles, accolades, may feel hollow. You are being pushed to find a soul-led reality. The transit isn't meant to punish you, it is meant to initiate you into a higher level of authority, one that doesn't rely on anyone else's permission to exist. Navigating the shadow. Because this point is associated with the wild and exiled parts of the psyche, transits here can trigger feelings of rejection or isolation. You might feel like the black sheep of your industry. The wisdom of the Waldemath Moon suggests that this rejection is actually a rite of passage. By being cast out of systems that no longer serve you, you are freed to create something entirely new. Key strategy: during Waldemath transits, avoid making defensive moves to save your reputation. Instead, lean into your unapologetic authenticity. The more you try to hide your shadow, the more it will disrupt your public life. If you own it, you control the narrative. When the Waldemath dark moon forms a conjunction with a natal planet or a mathematical angle in the 10th house, the energy shifts from a general background radiation to a concentrated, laser-focused force. In astrology, a conjunction represents a fusion. However, because the Waldemath moon acts as a second or ghost moon, it doesn't just blend with the other planet, it often shadows, intensifies, or obsesses the qualities of that planet through the lens of public life and career. In the 10th house, the house of the midheaven, the father, and the legacy, these conjunctions determine exactly how you will clash with the world to establish your unique sovereignty. The midheaven, MC, conjunction, the public paradox. The midheaven represents your highest point, the peak of your visibility. When the Waldemath moon sits exactly on the MC, your reputation is rarely neutral. The mask of mystery, you may be viewed by the public as an enigmatic or even dangerous figure. There is a magnetic, slightly unsettling quality to your authority. People sense that you see through social facades. The outcast leader, you often rise to power not by conforming, but by embodying the excluded parts of society. You may become a figurehead for movements that challenge the status quo, finding that your greatest professional strength is your refusal to be categorized. Conjunctions with personal planets. When the Waldemath moon fuses with an inner planet in the 10th house, your professional drive becomes a deeply visceral, almost instinctual quest for truth. With the Sun, the subversive sovereign. This conjunction creates an individual whose very light, Sun, is filtered through a dark, primal lens. Your career is your identity, but it is an identity built on disruption. You have a profound need to be real at all costs. This often leads to a king/queen in exile dynamic. You may achieve great heights only to realize that you cannot breathe in the atmosphere of traditional success. Your mastery lies in creating your own kingdom rather than inheriting one. With Mercury, the taboo messenger. Mercury here produces a professional voice that is sharp, investigative, and perhaps heretical. You are the one who speaks the uncomfortable truths in a corporate or public setting. Your mind is tuned to the frequencies that others ignore. While this can lead to being labeled as a troublemaker, it makes you an unparalleled strategist or whistleblower. You excel in careers where uncovering the hidden is a requirement. With Venus, the dark muse of status. With Venus, your public appeal is tied to the forbidden or the unconventional. You may find success in industries that deal with the darker side of human nature, grief, sex, power, or radical aesthetics. Your professional charm has a bite to it. You are often attracted to powerful partners who help or hinder your status, and your career path is frequently influenced by intense, transformative relationships. With Mars, the guerrilla professional. This is a volatile conjunction. Mars's drive and Waldemath's primal refusal to be tamed create a warrior in the 10th house. You are likely to experience frequent conflicts with authority figures because you view management as an infringement on your soul. However, this gives you the courage to pursue high-risk, high-reward careers that others would find terrifying. You don't just work a job, you fight a crusade. The psychic vacuum in professional life. A conjunction with the Waldemath Moon often acts as a psychic vacuum. It pulls toward the native situations that force them to confront the unrefined side of the planet involved. If it is conjunct Jupiter, you may experience excessive falls from grace. If conjunct Saturn, your professional restrictions may feel karmic or inescapable until you embrace your inner rebel. The lesson of these conjunctions is integration. You cannot keep your dark moon qualities separate from your 10th house career. If you try to be a standard professional while hiding this conjunction, the energy will eventually erupt as a scandal or a sudden professional collapse. If, however, you weave your intensity and your otherness into your professional brand, you become an unstoppable force, a person who commands respect not because they followed the rules, but because they had the guts to write new ones. Do you find that your public self feels significantly more intense or edged than your private self, or do these conjunctions make you feel like you're constantly at war with how the world expects you to behave? Subscribe, like, and share.